chip on my shoulder.
We gathered the 3 most successful coaches in Chicago basketball history. They combined 13 state championship rings.
Once you give it, you can't get it back.
Coming together to give Chicago the show it deserves.
What a play by Terry Kelly.
Of the best basketball culture in the world. This is 13 Rings.
So it's great to have both of these guys, some South Suburban flair.
With this shot clock topic right now, who's one player that you would want shooting the ball with 3 seconds left?
Myself. I ain't no arrogant person, but 3 seconds on the clock, I'm going to myself.
8 away, 35 feet away. Nick hits the fadeaway off the glass. He called bank.
You just glare. It's nothing but a look. And it's almost him saying, just give me the ball.
Now he's a, 5-star running back? I mean, wow.
Coach Smith, who would you have? Who would be your lockdown player? If you had to pick somebody, because you coach so much talent, who would you have as your lockdown person?
I want you to brag on your program for a little bit here.
Well, I have 2 of them that's going to Tulsa. I have 1 going to Wisconsin, Milwaukee. I have 1 going to Minnesota and 1 going to Cal State, Fullerton. I make sure I'm a servant to my community and to our kids.
2010. You win the 3A title. You go 31-3. What's your favorite memory from that season of winning your ring?
I try and tell them to enjoy the moment because I didn't even get a chance to enjoy the moment. I was young. It was my 3rd year.
Can you give us an update about the shot clock situation?
The whole thing, the last day, all of the voting will be in, and we actually have up to the moment votes.
But then also,
if Illinois the mecca of basketball,
right? I was just about to say,
a shot clock need to be implemented in the game.
I don't want them to have no enemies.
Oh man, you guys look bad. We off the L? We off the L?
I know my answer.
Welcome to our golden episode, 13 Rings, episode number 13. We're having a special South Suburban episode. We've done North Suburbs. We've done a bunch of coaches that have won rings. Today's theme is the South Suburbs. And this is a very exciting time to be a coach in the South Suburbs. Arguably as talented in that region as it has been in decades. And I think this is kind of like a renaissance here. So very, very happy to, first of all, welcome in 1 more ring. So today we're 14 rings, thanks to Coach Don Houston from Hillcrest. And then it's only a matter of time before Coach Dante Maddox from Bloom gets a ring or more. He's building something super special there. So guys, first of all, thank you so much for being here. We're going to get to the shot clock topic because Monday is a huge date. And Coach Slaughter is going to tell us all about that in a moment. First of all, I always like to get a feel for who you guys are as people, because we see you in these Sun-Times photos. We see your tweets. So I'll go top to bottom here on my screen. Coach Dante Maddox from Bloom, where did you grow up, and who was your childhood basketball hero?
I'm from the South Suburbs. Grew up in a suburb called Glenwood. I attended Bloom High School. Attending Bloom, the person I looked up to was a kid named Brandon Cole when I was a young boy, and then like everybody looked at Michael Jordan living in this, living in the Chicagoland area. So he is the GOAT, and he's the person I looked up to the most as far as basketball wise.
Did you ever see him in any of the parks, like at Leclerc Courts or anything like that?
No, unfortunately, I did not. I probably would have been starstruck, but he's the GOAT. So,
love it. And then Coach Houston, where did you grow up, and who was your basketball hero when you were little?
I grew up in Chicago. I went to De La Salle High School, went to Beasley Academic Center, and played with some good players there. Jamie Brandon, we were both on the same team in junior high. Favorite player, obviously, Jordan. Also, when I was coming out of junior high, we were able to watch him play and follow him along. So I would say Jordan.
Did you know Jamie Brandon was going to be one of the greatest players in city history?
Yeah, when I was in 8th grade, he was in 7th, and he was dunking on people. I definitely knew. how good he was going to be. You know, you didn't see people doing what he was doing in 7th grade.
And where does he get that from?
It was just natural. I mean, he would just, you would see him do things that he would just do it. It wasn't like it was planned. It was just natural instinct for him, you know, and that's what made him so good. You know, you see kids nowadays practicing moves over and over, repetition. He wasn't a repetition practice type guy. You just do it.
I love it.
Like Nike, just like Nike. Just do it, baby. Just do it.
Ty gets $5 every time he mentions the so a lot of sponsors on this podcast.
Yes, do it.
I love it. Well, we like to celebrate rings here. So what's your favorite thing about your 2010, you win the 3A title, you go 31-3. What's your favorite memory from that season of winning your ring?
You know, it's kind of weird because I didn't even absorb any of it until it was over. That's why anytime I know a coach who will go down there after me, I try and tell them to enjoy the moment, because I didn't even get a chance to enjoy the moment. I was young. It was my 3rd year. I basically say I was young and dumb. It just happened. You know, my kids played really well, and I was able to put them in the right position to win, but I didn't really get a chance to absorb the moment and appreciate it, you know? So the second time we went down there and we actually didn't win it, we came in 3rd. I took a moment to absorb everything, look around the gym, look around the arena, and just seize the moment, because, you know, you don't get a chance to do that. A lot of people don't get to that point. So, you know, I got a chance to seize the moment.
That's good you say that, Don, because me and Ty talked about this many times of us having great teams or good teams and not winning it. But just to get there, you know, as many times as we've been there, that just don't happen. You know, it's guys that coach 30, 40 years and never had that opportunity.
Yeah. To piggyback on what you're saying, I've had great teams, and I'll probably be in Nick's spot with the 13 rings if it wasn't for him. But
Man, I can tell you one thing about your teams, man. They always play hard. They always got after it, and they well coached. And you had some great teams, man, over the years. And, you know, one of us had to lose, and I'm glad.
Dante and Don, I got to tell y'all, too, I tell all our guests, that is Nick sitting in that seat. He gonna be talking and he gonna be saying some words, and you're gonna be like, "Is that Nick talking?" His PR person down at Western got him together, so his vocabulary is really high right now.
Send him to finishing school.
And you know what? I want to piggyback on what Don said. I've had some great teams, and they've all lost to Rob's team, so I could be sitting in his seat. I mean, it just happens like that, you know. But today is a actual great show. I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be back with you guys. And I'm most happy to be back with Dante, because he doesn't have any rings, so I'm still ahead of him. So I'm just happy to be ahead of somebody on this show today. Oh, and Don. I'm ahead of Don too.
Yeah.
So I'm not like the last guy again. I'm back up the chart. I'm back up the chart. But great to have both of these guys. Some South Suburban flair. You know, Dante with a phenomenal team this year, and it kind of just goes to show you how this game works. You can have the best team, the best talent, and on that night, you just not be the best. We've all experienced that. I'm sure that we all can talk about that to some degree. And Don, I think the one thing that Don chose to leave out of his biography is that he used to be my assistant. But we won't go into that right now. We'll talk about it later. But yeah, he left that out.
Really? I didn't know that. But you come from the slaughter tree.
Yeah, I used to work with
a weeping willow tree.
Hey, before we jump into the shot
many
clock,
months ago, I used to.
So I could actually. So I'm thinking, really, I think I could take his one state championship and give me 4 rings. I know I'm tied with you guys. I got 4 rings.
It's a half a ring. Half a ring. You both get half.
Well, I'll take whatever I can get out of it.
we're gonna, Ty's gonna have to transition here in a moment. So I do want to get to the shot clock topic, but first, as we kind of get to know both of you, Coach Dante. You're such a humble guy, okay? You're not going to brag on yourself. You had 5 Division I players this year. You built something very special at Bloom, and you really took the state by storm the last couple of years. First of all, for those of us who don't know, where are all of your seniors going? You got so many Division I prospects on your program. I want you to brag on your program for a little bit here.
Well, I have 2 of them that's going to Tulsa. I have 1 going to Wisconsin, Milwaukee. I have 1 going to Minnesota and 1 going to Cal State, Fullerton. And this is my 5th year coaching. And the first year I came on, we had the worst season I think we ever had at Bloom. And like each year, we just tried to, put ourselves in position to build a culture where we eventually be able to sustain success. And that's all I've been trying to do, trying to make sure I'm a servant to my community and to our kids.
Explain more about that. What does it mean to be a servant as a basketball coach? And how did that translate to wins and not just being a good person?
I mean, first thing, when I came in, I was just trying to make sure that we were about the things that our district has always been about. I feel like we had kind of lost it a little bit a couple years prior, and just doing the right stuff, making sure, going to class, that education was really important, that the character is really important. To me, that's the most important thing. That's that. If I can get them to have that, then that's wins and losses right in itself. So that was the first thing that I was trying to do. And then I was trying to get guys who came in with the mindset of wanting to go to school for free, wanting to play this game and play at a high level. And before, we've always had kids who play hard. We've always had guys who were able to have scholarships but couldn't take them because of the education part. So the group that I had their freshman year, I sat them down, I let them know. I started seeing what their aspirations were, and I told them, if you just trust me and do the things that I tell you, and it's not because I was right or anything, but just the education part, they can play. So they were going to be able to figure that out. But they did the education part and don't get in trouble and stuff, and they work out. And it has. And that's what I'm about. I want our kids who are in lower economic situations to be able to play the game they love and go to school for free.
Well, you knocked it out of the park. So I think you really, 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 want to emphasize that, because you do not toot your own horn. So very, very glad you guys are joining us. You have such interesting stories individually, and you also fit into this bigger picture of what Ty is working on. So Ty, can you give us an update about the shot clock situation? Because you have done such a great job of running this campaign. What is this critical date on Monday coming up, Ty?
Well, real quick, going first off, I've really done nothing, to be honest with you. I was just my idea. There are some guys behind the scenes that you may not have heard of or know about. I know Rob and I first kind of had the conversation. Then I started to talk about it, and we reached out to some other guys. Don has been an instrumental part. Coach Ellis out at Evanston has been an instrumental part. We have Daryl Robinson out at Danville, and we have Pat Wood. I mean, it's a slew of guys that have been working tirelessly behind the scenes to actually do all the stuff that you've seen. Nick over at Lane Tech. I mean, just Matt Monroe at St. Ignatius. There's a cornucopia of coaches that have been doing the real heavy lifting. I've really done nothing but started the conversation, and they pretty much took it over. But what we're doing and what's coming up on Monday, I think by now everyone has noticed that we've been like on a week-long campaign to get the word out about the shot clock and getting a vote, just to kind of gauge the state from one end of the state to the other about whether or not it was something that the state wanted. Because one of the things that we talked about on our working group, and of which Don and Rob and myself were a part of, was that we didn't want to put together a proposal that we did not believe had a chance to win. It's kind of like Congress, where you don't put a bill on the floor if it's not going to pass. We don't want to put a proposal out there that doesn't have a chance to pass. And I think right now, today being Saturday, tomorrow being the last day, all of the voting will be in, and we actually have up to the moment votes, so it's not, we thought that we would have to tabulate them, and that way we would get it out on Wednesday. We're going to produce it on Monday. We're going to send the vote over to Kurt Gibson in its totality, so that the IHSA can actually see it's not something that we just made up. It's actually real. If the coaches type their names in small letters versus large, you're going to get it just the way we got it. And what I can tell you without telling you what the exact count is right now, the last time this vote was held by the state, they had over 440 coaches, boy and girl, I believe, that responded. We're going to be well over 800 votes, close to 900 votes when it's all said and done. And what I would tell everybody that listens, and I would imagine that this is probably going to hit the ears about the time that the voting ends. So it's not like it's not moving the vote one way or the other. We're very poised to have an overwhelming mandate for the shot clock. That much I can tell you based on what we've seen. And I know Rob and Don, they see the numbers every day as they come in. And it is an amazing thing. I tell people that I talk to, you would be amazed at some of the people that voted for it. And you'd also be amazed at some people that voted against it. You know, I think there's a perception about what the shot clock really does and what it is. And we just really tried behind the scenes to answer some of those questions. Behind the scenes, we talked about how to, for those schools that believe they can't fund it, how to fund it. And it's some very simple things. It's really simple. And we've had some preliminary conversations with the IHSA, and the IHSA is keenly aware that this campaign is real. This is not one of those instances where Tyrone blurts something out on Twitter and it just kind of dies by the wayside. The people that we've talked about and the guys that are part of this group and committee, they worked incredibly hard to make this an undeniable campaign. And so I think like Rob, and I'll defer to Rob and to John, and they can kind of talk about some of the things that we've talked about from a standpoint of why we believe a shot clock is good for high school basketball, and also what are some of the positives about it. Because again, for me, I just want the shot clock. I don't want any credit. I mean, I don't care who gets the credit. I just want to get the shot clock. I'm for the shot clock. I believe it's good for our game.
Ty, we missed you last week.
Oh, cayenne pepper.
We missed you last week.
You know, well, okay.
Missing the pepper.
But I got my hair cut for this show. See, last time, it was so embarrassing. I made you guys look bad, and now I don't have to wear my hat anymore. I can go hatless now. But yeah, so I just think that, Rob, why don't you talk about what you believe some of the positives are, and then Don can kind of piggyback, because these two guys have been working with this too, making phone calls, sending out emails, following up. Don is a crafter of one of the illustrations that we put out during the course of the week. He was a part of that. So they're more intelligent about the shot clock than am I. I'm just like, I'm the cayenne pepper, I guess. I'm the cayenne pepper for everybody, I guess.
So for me, it's just I think it's just better for the game, and it brings it up to date. I was talking to a guy about it who was gonna vote no until we had the conversation, and
look at you,
it was just a
vote,
and it was just the fact of he didn't understand what it was gonna do, and he was concerned about the cost, and my first question to him was what was the last change in high school basketball in Illinois? And he said the 4 classes. I said, no, that's not that's not the change. The last change of the whole game was the 3-point line.
Wow.
And I'm like, so you want to be stuck in 1987 or you want to play in 2020? Yeah. We can't be stuck in back that far. We have to move forward, and one of the things that, well, everybody's not going to college. I understand that. That's not why we want the shot clock, because guys are going to college or young ladies are going to college. That's not it. That's not it. It's just a good thing for the fans. The pace speeds the game up a little bit. Well, kids going to be taking bad shots. They're not going to be taking bad shots because now as coaches, we have to do a better job of managing the shot clock. Mm-hmm. That's just what it does. And it makes us better coaches. That's what I think. It's going to make us a better coach.
And not to cut Rob off, I think Rob just hit on something that maybe some people were lost on. We actually have females, the girls coaches are involved in this. This is not simply a male mandate. This is actually a male and female mandate. So, and Coach Irvin, his sister has been really helpful with us on getting the word out on the girls' side also. So, yeah, Cindy. So we want to make sure that we give the credit where the credit is due. But I'm sorry, I just want to make sure that we mention that this is not simply about boys, because we don't want people to look at it like that.
Because girls play basketball too.
Yep. Hashtag girls.
That's what
play
Cindy.
too.
That's what Cindy says. Cindy says it all the time.
When I talk to my girls coach, he was 110% for it. He jumped all over when I mentioned the situation to him. And talking to coaches, I talked to a few coaches who I thought would probably be against it. But once I started talking to them, they were 110% for it, saying that, the style of play, that slow down style of play, it would actually help them out a little bit, as far as their coaching is concerned, because they think they're superior coaches and they figure out I can find a way to stop you for 30 seconds or 35 seconds. So they actually see it'll help them, in the long run, where I thought that they were going to be against it. They were confident in their coaching ability to say, I can do this. I can get my team to do this and we can stop you, So, that was surprising to me within itself.
But then also,
if Illinois the mecca of basketball,
right? I was just about to say
a shot clock need to be implemented in the game because basketball is moving. Basketball is not at a standstill anymore. The game is changing each and every year, and for a shot clock not to be in, and Illinois is the mecca of basketball, and we got all these NBA All-Stars, NBA players, high level college players that's excelling in college. I mean, why not? Why not? And plus, if you're trying to go to the next level coaching or playing, you need to learn about the shot clock now at an early stage of your career and or at a late stage of your career. But you got to have a shot clock for people to move forward and then stay ahead of the game or stay right with the game.
And if Nick was still here, if Nick was still in high school, he would be voting for it to be 20 seconds.
Oh, yeah, 20 seconds.
No, 22. That's 22.
Not only
30 seconds.
You just have some great coaches out there, and I mean they're going to take advantage of all of this with the shot clock. I mean, it just adds so it brings new life. I mean, I've been coaching for 13 years on varsity and 20 years, but it just brings new life, new energy just to think about it. Now, you got to think about it. You got to game plan for it. You got to prep for it. We need that new life. The game's kind of getting stagnant,
But Todd said something before that made sense, and I didn't think about it, like in the NCAA tournament, how those little bitty teams are able to stay with, those high-powered teams because they utilize the shot clock, to their advantage, and it takes away from that team being so talented, over those teams, but they utilize them, and sometimes they have upsets that we see in the NCAA tournaments, and sometimes they lose, but it's a really close game.
Yeah.
And and it's funny because I had a chance to talk with someone asked me to get in contact with Coach Alexander down at Lincoln. And they said, well, you should probably call him because he's a very influential guy in that neck of the woods, and it'd be great if you all could get him on board. It's going to be hard because of the style of play that they play. And I said, well, one of the things that I'm not opposed to doing is calling and talking to anybody, not trying to sway. And I think that's one of the things that we've said that we don't want to do is we don't want to make or try to make people vote the way we want them to vote. We want to just be able to have a conversation with them. And so I actually called Coach. He picked up the phone, and I told him who I was, and he said that he's heard about the campaign because he's not on social media, and that's not what he does.
I told him.
I'm sorry.
I was the one that talked to him about
it. And he said he heard about it, and he says I'm all for it. I said, I was like, okay. I was kind of shocked.
Yeah.
Because
he loves
people
it.
that I had talked to, they said, well, he plays. He told me, he says he played one game in the 20s in double overtime. He said, but the issue is not what we do on offense. It's really more about what we do on defense. Exactly. And he says for him as a coach, he wants to continue to show that his kids can operate under the game plans. I think the other thing that many people don't recognize is simply because you give a time to the clock, that doesn't mean that the game has to play faster. Rob and I were on a Zoom call this past Sunday with some of the girls coaches in Chicago. And one of the coaches said something that I just thought was profound. He said that in football, every offense has a shot clock of sort. They have a play clock. They have a play
Right.
clock.
Good
And
point.
so they have a play clock. And so coaches utilize the play clock. And granted, it is different than a shot clock, but the fact that there's a time limit by which they have to do something, and teams use that to perfection. They use it to perfection, one way or the other. It's a strategy in the game. And I think that when people as coaches start to look at the game, and Rob and I talked about one of the coaches that he kind of alluded to. You know what, guys? If you really have one of two choices. Either you can want to see the game advance, or you can be happy with the status quo. That's it. There's no in between. You're either happy with the way it is, and that's fine, or you can just see the game change. If you have a home, you can be happy with the home price that you have when you buy it, or you can look for the home value to increase. It's one or the other. And we're in increase land now. This is the time for increase. So that's the way I look at it. I just like I said, I am excited because I have an opportunity to see the numbers every day. And the one thing I know is that we're winning. I know that we're winning. I know that there are coaches throughout this state who, not because of anything that we've done, but these are things that they've thought about. And, you know, as coaches, we think about a lot of things, but we just don't know or have an opportunity to voice our opinion. We have given them that voice. We've had conversations with Kurt Gibson. His office clearly knows that it's coming. I think, you know, I think for those coaches who did not want it for whatever the reasons, all I can really say to them is it's coming. It's coming to a neighborhood near you.
I think the problem with coaches that don't want the shot clock, they actually got a coach now. You know, when you playing against a good team that's really, really good like y'all are, the problem is they got a game plan. Oh, I'm gonna hold the ball for 2 minutes to keep the game down. Now they have to play basketball and they have to coach. And I think that's what the problem is. I think if they just throw that part out where, okay, I got to coach and strategize and get these kids to where they need to be, the game would be that much better. But they probably don't want them because they gotta play basketball now.
But I think I spoke about this before on here when we went to play DeMatta last year with the shot clock, and you know, I just messed the game completely up down the stretch. It wasn't the kids, and I told the kids in the locker room, this not on y'all. You know, this is on me because I should have did a better job of being able to understand them last 3 minutes of the shot clock. We playing the number 5 team in the country, you know, and we got the lead with like three something on the clock, 2 something on the clock. We up 6 points, but just not understanding the shot clock and shot selections and what plays I should be running at that time. Well, he knew that part. He knew that we had to shoot it up there, you know, and to Ty, what Ty said, the guy said down in Lincoln, his defense took over. It wasn't about what we were doing on offense. They pushed up on us on defense to make us rush a little bit more than we wanted to do. But just not understanding it at the time and being able to go through it. Now, most of the game, we was fine. We didn't have a shot clock violation. We didn't have any of that because it was just the flow of the game. But then when the game got tight towards the end, you know, we know when it really counts, it's a 2 or 3 possession game. Mm-hmm. I just like, what am I doing right here? What am I? Because if I was at home, he wouldn't have never saw the ball again. We got done.
Passing game, baby. Passing game.
All right, Coach Maddox, you've been awfully quiet. I want to make sure that you get your.
I'm on the same page. I think it's a comfort level for some coaches that, you know, if I'm able to slow it down, then I can stay in the game. And the game does not play like that at all after you go to high school. The high school is just a continuation of college, and if you're blessed enough to go to the pros. So our kids being able to make decisions faster, us being as coaches being able to process stuff faster, it only helps because that's what is coming down the line. And I think a lot of coaches don't want to be uncomfortable because it will be uncomfortable because this is not what I'm used to. And I don't have as much talent as maybe, so I have to, you know, make my adjustments and do this and that. And at the end of the day, if you get outside of me winning or losing and just the essence of basketball and where it's going and loving the game and everything, then you know that a shot clock is needed.
Right.
All right, so how would you have gone?
You know what, real quick, Gordon.
Yeah.
Real quick, Gordon, before because I may lose you. One of the things I wanted to say, and this was important. Do you know I played Nick probably 100 times, and I think I played Rob at least 4 million times. I've never I beaten every time I played Don. I beat him, so I don't have to worry about that one. And I never had a chance to play Dante. I'm sorry, but you all know I couldn't let that one go. I had to hit him. But I would be honest with you. The teams that I had seemingly the greatest fear for, and not when I say fear, not like, oh, I'm scared to play them, but gave me the greatest trepidation was not the Robs and the Knicks and the Hillcrest and those teams. I knew they were good, and I knew they were going to play, and I knew what they were going to do. It was those teams that I had no idea what their game plans were, that I had no idea if they would be able to hold the ball if they got the lead. And why? Because it's all about the game plan. I think the other part of it is, and Dante just said it, we talk about our players. We always say you have to be uncomfortable, and you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Well, as coaches, we have to be uncomfortable. Some of us are doing the exact same thing that we have always done, and we think that's right. It doesn't mean that it's wrong, but there's a way to change. And the last point that I'll make, and this is the question that I will ask every coach that votes no. I promise you, none of them went to their players and asked their players, hey, would you guys be interested in playing with the shot clock? Because I promise you, every one of those coaches that voted no, if they polled their team, no matter how they think their kids are, those kids will want to play with a shot clock. Because every kid wants to emulate what they hope to be, whether or not they're going to play in college. They don't care. The game would be universal across the board if high school had a shot clock, because at every other level there is a shot clock in every other major country outside of the United States. And the players that we get from overseas, they're far more skilled. And you talk about a team with a last-second shot. Sometimes if you throw the ball to a player on my team for a last-second shot, he'll throw that thing up in the stands before he shoots it in the rim. But if every kid was skilled because they knew that a last second you have to make a play, we'd have better skilled players. I want the shot clock. Let's get the shot clock.
I mean,
okay.
Realistically,
Nick, you got a shot clock, so
I'm happy. You know I'm happy now. I've been wanting a shot clock forever.
You got it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, realistically, what's the difference? What do a player not going to play in college have to do with a shot clock anyway?
Well, because the assertion is we should do something for everyone so they can all have fun. Well, these kids, they play basketball because they want to be able to compete. That's why they play basketball. Mm-hmm. And whatever the rules are, if they say that the three-point line is whatever feet, that's what they're going to play with. So this foolishness about the shot clock and we want the game to be pure. The game has long since not been pure.
What does that mean, pure? According to who?
Okay, right. Well, right. I would. Yeah, we've talked about this before, but that was like in one of our earlier programs. Okay, that was one of our earlier programs.
It's about pure. It's an game. There's
say that offline, coach.
Yeah, well,
what pure is?
The panel knows when we talked about this, the purity of the game. Okay,
right.
We didn't talk about it in the context of basketball, but we talked about it another way. And you know what? The game is pure when we make the changes that are best for the game. That's when the game becomes pure. And this is going to make – there's going to be such a level of purity. It's going to be, like our president says, it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. I can't wait. We're going to make the shot clock good again. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah,
make the shot clock good again.
But being honest,
even if you talk about the fun in the game,
right.
Look at how many buzzer beaters can happen within a game.
Exactly.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So,
oh my God.
When you talk about fun, winning is fun. So everybody who wins. So if you strategize and I held the ball for 4 minutes, I'm gonna be happy because I won. But that's not fun. I don't care who you are. Passing the ball 8 times is not fun. Passing the ball 80 times to start the clock out as a fan is horrible to watch. As a player is horrible to do because you're gonna lose interest. But it does feel good to win when you're done with it. But at the end of the day, just the purity and the fun of the game, have to actually make plays to win, is what every player, every coach want to do.
That's why I use press.
If I'm for it, everybody should be for it.
Yeah, passing game, baby. Passing game.
They should. If I'm for it, they should know this is the best thing to be doing. If I'm doing, if I'm on for it.
Hey, I used to tell my players, "Hey man, if we're down 10 with 3 minutes, the game over."
Oh, it's over. It's all over. It's all over.
Passing game.
I've had many of those games. I was down 3. I was down 3 with 4 minutes, and it was over. It don't matter because they put that thing up. and they were good at running the passing game.
Yeah.
Now they've got to be good at executing a play with 13 or 10 seconds. It's a beautiful way to play. It's symmetry in motion. And Gordon would know that. He would know this probably better than some of you guys. Maybe Dante, but it says in the good book, if I be for you, I'm better than the world against you. So if Rob is for us, he's better than all the people against us, guys.
Nah, I told you we missed you last week, man.
That is some amazing range. You just quoted a president that you hate and the Bible back to back. That is range.
And I just missed my turn, so don't worry about it. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
It was a good point. Hey, Dante, is Dante Jr. there? Let's get his opinion.
You know what? You don't have to get his. He want to put it up, so we don't even got to ask him.
He won't shoot it.
He played for Nick.
Yeah.
He had some great times playing for Nick before. He more mad at me because he couldn't put it up like he wanted to. He would rather go play for Nick than he would with me.
I used to tell him, get you one, man. Get you one.
Shoot it, man. Right. But he would be for it. No, seriously, he left to go to that pro-am thing, but he would be for it. All of our players would be for it. I think Coach said it right. In this day and age, man, you want to play. Let's play. Let's have fun. Even, I mean, it's a time for patience and everything, but, I mean, let's make decisions. Let's try to make plays. Let's try to make reads. Let's try to –
Yeah.
And patience can be practiced within the clock. It can be practiced within the
still
clock.
can do
Exactly.
You practice game situations anyway.
And if you
know
really kind of looked at us the last couple years, the last 3 or 4 years, we kind of got away from that anyway. I did too. I actually got away from it because the kids were so good. You know, why would you put them through that? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You got to find some other way to make that work. Now, you know, of course, we would go into it at certain times that we needed to go into it. I mean, but it wasn't like it was in
previous years where we just spreaded people out and held the ball. We got away from that a lot. We just game plan and had to have people make some plays down the stretch. So it just kind of changed. Like you guys said, the game changed, you know. So that was some old stuff that I got from Coach Hambrick that worked, you know, and it worked. But now that's like in the past, you know, because them guys, they don't want to hold that ball. Like Coach Maddox said, they ready to get it up there. They don't want to hold it, you know. So I also had to start tricking them to even attempt to do it, you know. We just make 8 passes. They'll pass it to each other top 8 times. Okay, now let's go.
Right. Now you used to say, man, you know what time it is, right? You know what time it is, right? Look at the clock. I said, they come passing game.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Coach Smith, I don't know if you remember when when Bloom played Simeon, we had Jabari downstate. We said if somebody hit 40 points, it's going to be amazing because both of y'all had that. Coach Williams also had that stall mentality. Once you get that lead, take the air out the ball pretty much. And so that is, I mean, it worked at that time.
That was a style that we had. I mean, he was in the era with Coach Hambrick them, and that's kind of the stuff that they did, you know. And I adopted that
Rob,
stuff.
you know the difference between you and a lot of people, a lot of coaches. You wasn't holding it just to be holding it, though.
No,
you was holding it for a purpose.
Yeah,
back door. If you overplayed on the top of the wing, they're
gonna do that back door.
They going back door
for a dunk.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
We knew exactly what
that
they were
baseline cut for a dunk.
Come on, man, stop it.
Some of these
Or they were throwing
coaches
it
just
up to somebody.
holding it.
All right.
And if you look, one last thing though, if you look at Virginia in college basketball, one of the most deliberate teams in the game, and they won a national championship.
So
guys, let's stop with that argument. Let's talk about something more important. Let's talk about something more important. When will we get back on the court and play basketball? When will we do that, Gordon? Come on, Gordon, you know.
2021. There's no way it's happening this year.
No, it's got to happen this year, Gordon. It has to happen. Oh, 2021 as in
I hope
2021 as in January?
Yeah, as in January, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. That's
now with them probably pushing the season back. How would y'all do the elite class? Would y'all push that back too as well, or what?
Well,
yeah,
right.
You know, and that's something Rob. It's Rob's year, so it's up to him.
Yeah, we still in negotiations of it and trying to see what it's going to look like. We still planning like it's going to happen though.
Okay.
You know, because we have to do that. It's hard to push it back to January because that would end up being 2021 for us. And then it's also so many other events going on in January that we would be in the way of, or people already have commitments to and stuff like that. And so do me and Ty have commitments other places, and I'm pretty sure other schools have commitments other places. So, I mean, it's just a work in progress. But like I said, we still working on it like it's going to happen. But we don't know. And that question did come up when we push it back.
Yeah.
And me and Ty, we kind of thinking through it like, is it worth it, or should we do it, or what? But we just know there's so many other events at that time, that we don't want to clash with them and not be able to do our thing the way we normally would do it. So we just.
I hope it happens, because I finally got a good team and got an invite, and then here we go and shut it down.
Hey, is there a quota? Is there a quota about the amount of South Suburban teams can be in it?
Well, no, but what we will do though, and this is what I was telling Rob the other day, I'm going to, if we know that it's going to get canceled, I'm going to invite everybody that has to come, so I can just tell them, man, you were coming this year. They get canceled on us.
I don't want that call, Coach. Hey, we'll be good in the future. We'll be good in the future. So don't.
Yes, sir.
I love that.
Wait, who brought up this Chicago Elite Classic conversation? Don't do that anymore on this show, okay?
Yes, sir.
Especially when we have other coaches, because we always get those questions, and it makes us look bad. Come on, Nick.
I had to get my schedule together.
Yeah.
I had to come support. I was getting my schedule together.
I've been good friends with these guys for years, and I can't get an invite.
Oh, my God.
Hey, don't get Coach Slaughter starting to talk about how he beat everybody south of he can't even say, I can't even say Morgan Park though. So now was 111th now, Coach?
Well, no, but when I beat all of you all, I had beat Nick the year before, so it still stood. I control the entire South Suburbs. You all know that. You all know that. Now go ahead.
He hasn't played us. We beat y'all in summer. He hasn't played us at all.
Before we let our guests go, I want to ask one of my curveball questions, because we're talking about shot clock, and we like to bring in players that maybe people don't think about as often, and we like to celebrate the history of the whole Chicagoland area, from Stevenson down to, maybe Kankakee is a little too far, but you get my point. I want to know, with this shot clock topic right now, who's one player that you would want shooting the ball with 3 seconds left? Think about that for a moment.
In the history, or just like this last year?
History. I'm talking about, it could be somebody obscure from your neighborhood that you remember growing up. But who's just somebody that doesn't have to be the best player, like you can't all say Derrick Rose. But who's one person that just had an uncanny knack for those clutch situations that you would want, hitting a baseline jumper or taking it to the hole? With the shot clock winding down, who's that guy that you're going to?
That's just them two, or that's all of us?
Everybody.
Oh.
Well, right now, I guess since we talked about him, I'm going to say Jamie Brandon, because I played with him. I know what he could do. I'm going to give the ball to him. He's shot that ball in clutch situations pretty much all his life, so I'm going to give it to him.
What was his attitude like in those moments?
What was the question?
Who would you want to shoot your last second shot with 3 seconds?
Who would you pick? Not the best player, but who's somebody from the history of Chicagoland basketball that just had an uncanny knack for those 3 seconds left type?
Well, I'm gonna bet on myself. I'm gonna go with myself. I ain't no arrogant person, but 3 seconds on the clock, I'm going to myself.
Feet away, 35 feet away. Nick hit the fadeaway off the glass. He called bank.
And it's crazy because I knew he was going to say that.
Yeah. I'm going to bet on myself. Nobody ain't touching that ball but me.
All right.
Well, that would be whether the shot clock was running down or not, Nick. We're not talking. I mean, come on.
But you said that be tip off. Give a tip off situation. Who you want to shoot, Nick?
With 1 second off the clock, who's shooting Nick?
Nick.
But Don picked a good one, because that's my era, and he made a bunch of those shots.
Yeah.
He made a bunch of them. I mean, I remember, I think it was probably, it'll be 89. And we were in the tunnel. It was the Final Four, and King was playing South Shore. And South Shore was winning.
Half court.
And we was like, this game over with. It's like 3 seconds, 4 seconds, and they taking the ball out from underneath their basket, going the other way, rather, on the opponent's basket. He took 2 dribbles and pulled up, and it went all net.
The buzzer went off, man. The buzzer went off, man. You know, that's Mac playing against them, man. I can't let you do that to me, man.
But he made a bunch of those. He made a bunch of those shots in his career. He made a bunch of those shots in his career. And Don, that's crazy because I didn't know you went to elementary school with him. But Jamie's been a big topic on this show for a while. He was one player out there during my time who, like, really impressed all of us.
Yeah.
You know, he impressed all of us. I remember us playing them. That's when they had the big mayor's tournament at Whitney Young. He was posting us up at the 3-point line, shooting over us. You know, I mean, it was like, how do you stop him? You know what I'm saying? He was just doing whatever he wanted to do. Yeah. And he was me thinking I can guard anybody, couldn't guard him at all.
Jamie was a bad boy.
Yeah.
That is.
Okay, we got it. It's a bad boy. He's a bad boy.
Yes, sir.
Well, you know what? And I'm going to go. This is a little nostalgia. Okay, and I'm going to pick one of my players. And I know, and I have to do this because it's important for the show. This was as a sophomore coach. Rob probably remembers this game. He probably remembers this game. Oh, Rob, stop doing that. I gotta answer the question. My God, the man has to answer. We're playing Rob at the United Center. The first time the board has the championship game at the United Center.
Why do we want to talk about this?
Wait, I thought that's what we were doing. I thought we were.
No, he said clutch people who can make that shot all the time, not one time.
Well, that was clutch. I mean, it doesn't get any more clutch than that. We beat you. We go to overtime with a 3-pointer from the NBA 3-point line, Andre Knox, when you guys had the game won. I mean, and that's like a buzzer. The buzzer went off and the ball went in, and we went to overtime and won. Would that be the same thing, Gordon? Yes or no?
Yeah, I mean it's
Gordon.
a cousin to the question. It wasn't directly answering the question. But.
Oh, Joe. Okay, whatever. You all always take up for Rob. Okay, whatever.
I'm your hype man. I called you Cayenne Pepper.
I know, but I just wanted that one victory, guys. I just wanted that one victory.
If we don't get a fast break dunk and smack the backboard.
Smack the backboard. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Oh. It was beautiful. And then he got the technical foul from God, I can't think what his name is off the top of my head. But that was great. I couldn't believe that. I couldn't even believe that he gave me the call.
We on a fast break. The game's about to be over with. Kid dunks the ball and smacks the backboard. We get the 2 points. They go down and get the tech and make it, and then come back and hit a 3.
Dang.
Well, but you know what? But the reality of that was, and it goes back to our shot clock. Just bad coaching. No coach would let his kids slap the backboard. You got to coach that stuff. You got to coach.
See, I should have. Well, the problem is that I should have been in passing game.
Oh my God! on a 94-foot court. My.
All right, Coach Dante, who's your guy? Who's somebody, not necessarily the best player you've ever seen, but that just had an uncanny knack for those late game situations?
Dante Ingram Jr. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Dante, if it was the last couple of years, I would say, but probably Brandon. Brandon Cole I looked up to him, man. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Brandon Cole was a bad boy.
Bad boy?
Yeah, absolutely.
2 bad boys in one day.
Yeah. Brandon Cole.
B. Cole was good. B. Cole was good.
What is 14 threes in one game?
Something like that. I know he got the record at Bloom for it, and I know he
I think he got the state
30 and he was
Yeah, I was trying to break his record.
No.
So I know he hit 14. I was trying to break it. I came up a little short. I hit 13.
And the team was winning by 35 when he was doing it, but that's enough.
Hey, you know my madness to that? If I got a kid averaging 30 or 40, my chances are good of winning.
Oh, no doubt about that.
Hey, Nick, the coach you want to go for if you're trying to hit 50, that's who you want to play for.
You ain't lying.
I'll give you my answer. I think recently, I've seen Ayo Dosunmu more than almost any media person, just because covering him when he was playing for Nick, and then now at Illinois, I cover him, and it's hard to lie with results. And he's won multiple Big Ten games with thousands of people watching him on TV and in the stands. So he'd be my recent guy, but my childhood guy would be John Shire, Glenbrook North superstar, won a national title. I mean, that guy, nobody intimidated him. They played a game in Evanston against Mike Conley, Greg Oden, and that Lawrence North team was just dominant. I don't think anybody could beat that team, but Shire was not afraid of anybody. And I mean, we saw the Proviso West when what did he have? 21 points and.
Yeah, and I was there for that game. It was the most exciting basketball game from a high school kid up until that point that I'd ever seen. And I was standing in the hallway, the stairway at Proviso, calling some people because there was a big argument that year about who was the player of the year, whether it was going to be John Shire or whether it was going to be Sharon Collins, and everybody was debating it. And as much as I was wanting it to be Sharon Collins, a public league guy, I was in the hallway calling somebody, telling them, "God, I'm watching the player of the year right now." This performance that he's putting on against, I think it was Proviso East or West. It was one of the Proviso, and they were knocking him down. He just got up, went to the free throw line, made 2 free throws. He hadn't touched the rim yet. Then they come back, they steal the ball, they throw it to him. He shoots it from 3, nothing. But I mean, it was unbelievable watching John Shire put that performance on that day. So that would be that'd be a good bet too. That'd be a good bet too.
Yeah, John Shire was really good. He was really good. I think we played him downstate that year.
Okay.
And I watched a lot of film of him, at that time because we were playing him, and he was really good. He was clutch.
Yes.
He made big shots.
Oh, yeah.
Down the stretch, and that would have been a good example of a team if they had the shot clock. Him making buzzer beaters, or making shots right before the shot clock was ending. Because they would have been running a lot of stuff for him right at that time. To make those John Shire was a great, player here in the state. I mean, he ranks up there high. Probably don't get a lot of credit that he probably should be because he played where he played at, but he's one of the best that played in the state of Illinois. Definitely in high school, anyway.
I saw him put on a spectacular performance at shootout at the Hill. They were playing against Thornwood, and first quarter he had like 22. Thornwood had like 14, and then at the end of the game he had like 47. Thornwood had like 45. So it was an incredible performance at our gym that one year.
And John Shire could score at all 3 levels. Like he was just a scorer. He could shoot it. He had mid-range, fit at the basket. And he was and he could pass though. He was a underrated passer, I thought. And one thing about him, he just gave it everything he got. He didn't care who he played against. He just knew he was getting 30 walking into the game.
Your type of player there, huh?
Yeah, that's my type of player.
And I was gonna say, it's no doubt he's a bad boy.
He's a bad boy. Yes, he is.
I'm sure he's a bad boy.
Yeah, and with Ayo, when the game was on the line, he always wanted the ball, and I always gave it to him. So he was building and born for it once he got to Illinois because he already knew the team was always on the shoulder, on his back, so he got to deliver. And he always delivered for me. When the game was close, he always took the game over. And, he helped me win 2 state championships. So
How many?
Huh?
How many?
2. I ain't got no problems with Ayo Dosunmu. No way at all. I have no problems with him. That's my man.
I got problems with him. He's not state championship, so I got plenty of problems with him. Between him and little Charlie.
Charlie Moore too.
I was the happiest person in the world to ever see those 2 kids graduate.
Yeah, see, I was blessed to have Charlie. See, when the game was online with Charlie, it wasn't no doubt in my mind who I was going to. And everybody knew on the other team, in the huddle, everybody knew Charlie Moore was taking that last shot no matter what.
No matter what.
Yeah, because we practiced that. I said, because I always tell them, hey, man, game on the line, you got to score it, man. I don't want to hear it. You want to be a great ball player. You say you this, you say you that. You know, great ball players finish people off. Rob, you had one, Derrick Rose.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Barry Parker.
What was the best late game?
One-on-one.
What'd you say?
Rob, give us a, we've seen all the highlight reel and stuff, but what's something maybe you saw from Derrick in a huddle that let you know he was different? Like, what's a little moment you remember from Derrick's late game heroics?
Well, Ty coached him too, so he probably could. He just give you this glare. It's nothing but a look, and it's almost him saying, "Just give me the ball." It's not a saying, "Coach, give me the ball." I got it. It's like a look he gives you. I mean, if you even go back to when we played Pierre Richwoods in the championship, when he got that ball, did you see that bounce he had? He just had a bounce, and I was like, this game right here, he finna score this basket. He tired of being here, But he was kind of different. He didn't say a lot. You very seldom see him celebrate. The one game when we played Washington at United Center was the most I had ever seen him, chill or do anything or make any gestures after he made baskets. But that was it's crazy that I didn't realize that he didn't miss a shot in that game. He was 11 for 11 from the field. He had those 2 blocks and then he had those 2 dunks like in a minute and a half stand. It was unbelievable.
Guys, I'm going to have to leave you all, but let me say to Dante and Don, it really was a pleasure having both of you guys today. Rob, Nick, Gordon, as always, I'm just glad that you all allow me to be here. If you haven't voted, go vote. And then, Dante, to you and to Don, you guys got some work to do to catch me. Y'all got some work to do to catch me, okay? Y'all got some work to do to catch me, okay? Because I'm not going to be the last. The first shall not be the last of this one. But no, guys, really, I appreciate both of you guys being on and grateful to have you guys as friends in the business. And, thank everybody. Rob, I'm going to send you my photos from movie night, okay? I'm going to send you my photos from movie night. Gordon, thank you. Hey, Nick, I some of my kids need you, but we'll talk later. All right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, guys. All right. God bless.
All right. Thanks, Ty.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. So, Dante and Don, any final thoughts before we just want to say thank you, I guess, just for spending time with us. It's really great to get to know you a little bit better personally.
Now that Nick's gone, I can catch time. So, so that's that. And it's crazy because it doesn't matter, what the situation is, and I could be down in the dumps after a loss, and Ty called me and say, you found a way to mess that one up, and he doesn't care about my feelings or anything like that, and it just gets me over it, real fast, so he keeps things in perspective, but like I said, thanks for having me on here. It's great to be in the presence of all these guys. These guys are great coaches. I'm extremely happy for Nick and what he's doing, and look forward to seeing him in the future and really working with him on that professional level now, and getting kids into school and whatever they need from us. And thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Did y'all hear his vocabulary?
No, I didn't hear his vocabulary. I heard some of it.
That's what I'm saying. He ain't gonna give it all to you, but just think about the conversations you had with him before versus him on here.
Man, you know how I used to be a wild boy.
Nick, I just want to say thank you also. I appreciate it. Just the opportunity and the platform to even be able to be amongst, championship. More than even, I don't even care about y'all rings, because that's for y'all. But just the character that you guys have and the way that you do it. I've got to know Nick with AAU, and then Coach Smith, I see him from a distance and see his standard. I battled with Nick and battled against Coach Houston. So I've had the opportunity to play in the grind against them and just see what they're about. And I just really appreciate even the opportunity to come on here amongst good brothers who are winners and who, set a high standard. And I think that's going to help me, long term and whatever I do. So I just appreciate it. And thank you, Gordon, for having me on.
It's one thing I'll end with is, I've coached against Rob when we were sophomore coaches, and to see where he is now, Hall of Famer, that's huge, to see a person career just go and skyrocket the way his did. You know, it's huge to see that, you know.
But yeah, we definitely appreciate you guys coming on. I mean, we know it's a Saturday, it's nice outside, it's midday. You know, all those things are important to us. You know, we didn't even, I mean, we kind of pushed our guests back this week because we normally would have it set up on who we're going to get. And then Gordon mentioned Dante, and then I mentioned you, and he was like, okay, we can do South Suburbs. But the thing about it is both of you guys, when we both called, you guys said yes right away. You know, and that's huge for us in this business because we understand that we all have the same challenges and we still learning from each other as stuff go on, but this is still a brotherhood. You know, this show was put together because people didn't think that me, Ty, and Nick got along. You know, and for us to be on this every week for 13 weeks in a row, you know, it shows that they wrong. You know, that they wrong. We just competitors. Right. It ain't the fact that we don't like each other. We just competitors. Yeah. And when we get on those sidelines, we want to beat each other. And it's no different when we get on the sideline against y'all. We want to win. Mm-hmm. But people took that to another level, you know, and kind of killed our character with each other, you know. But we knew what the results were, or what it was. But this show has taken off, you know, since we started. I mean, we started doing quarantine, and then once it let up some, people probably thought, well, they're going to stop it now. They ain't going to keep going. But we ain't doing nothing but getting better as time go on. So
golden episode.
But we just, like I said, we really appreciate you guys coming on. We wanted to spread it out through everybody. You know, we wanted people to be able to get on. We just been searching and just trying to make sure that we had the right people on. That's all.
Yeah, and I'm gonna start with Dante first, man. We stayed up many a nights talking on the road, and you know what you did with the Bloom team, and what you're doing with them still. And, man, I'm proud of you, man. And you taking guys into college. That's what it's all about. You know, it ain't about wins and losses. It's about getting kids in college and making sure they've been successful. And you're doing a great job with that, man. You know, I'm always in your corner. I'm always here for you. And Don,
I try to keep up, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, yes, sir. And then also thanks for letting me coach your son too, man. Your son.
Hey, thank you for solidifying us having a little bit of respect. Because when we played y'all, that made the city say, okay, they may be able to play a little bit.
Yeah, you up one on me too. I wanted that lick back
this year. Hey, you're never gonna beat me, Nick. You're never gonna beat me.
I know it's over.
Everybody else may beat me. You never beat me.
You come up to college, I'm gonna catch you. I'm gonna schedule a game. I need my lick back. And then, you know, we had a lot of battles over the years, and you know, we sat down, chopped it up, and talked about a lot of stuff. And man, you in my book, you're a Hall of Famer. You took that Hillcrest program and took it to another level. You won 1,000 conference championship. You got your state title on your belt, which is hard to do. You know, it ain't easy winning the state championship. What you got there on the belt, and you're doing a great job getting your kids into college. But you know, the thing with you still talk to them to this day with your players. You know, you still tight with them. They all come back. They all think highly of you. I coach some of your players. You know, Bucky, my guy. You know, I can talk. He says he played with him. You know, I coached a number of your players, but you know, and the reason why I was so excited about beating you and wanting to play, because the riffraff behind you. You know, they talk so much. T. Atway, he talks so much. No, it wasn't never nothing personal with you. You my man, 100 Gray.
I got to bear the brunt of those guys' mouths, man.
know. And so every time I used to gear up, I used to know going in that this is the start of the season. True, I can tell you my secrets. Now, even though I told you a few of my secrets when we were sitting down talking one day, but you know, I can tell you I always knew I had to play you or Bogan. So y'all was always on the top of my list every time the season started. And I used to put a lot of stuff into my players' head about Hillcrest and Bogan. And when T. Atway just takes it over the top, him and Bull, when they be talking, and they think I don't read social media. That motivates me because I didn't have no motivations. You know what I'm saying? So I said, let me find some motivation. So they used to talk so much, and I used to go read. Oh, so I used to print it out, put it in the locker room, go from there. Like when me and Rob play, we're going to talk regardless. So it didn't matter. So they already knew that we play Simeon. Shit, they
don't got to get hyped. They know.
Yeah, everybody said. But y'all was number one because they talk so much on the internet, man. And it wasn't you. It wasn't you.
And it's never me, but
not never you.
You got to
so
deal
tell
with
them to be cool, be quiet, and let you just go ahead and do what you do. But no, I really appreciate you, man. And I'm always here for you. Need me, and our friendship go beyond basketball. All of our friendship go beyond basketball, and man, we're gonna continue this, and man, hopefully y'all all have a great season.
Appreciate it.
Wow. What a way to end this, guys. Thank you so much for another awesome week and 13 episodes. I've seen you guys more than I've seen some of my family members, so we really appreciate it. And it's good to have our cayenne pepper back. So please don't take anything Ty said personally. It's just cayenne pepper. The burning will go away eventually.
And you know who else was a killer? JoJo.
JoJo, yeah. JoJo.
Hey, how about this? How about defensively?
Marcus Garrett.
I'll tell you what, somebody from your program, Don, if I had to have somebody lock down one of those guys we talked about in a late game situation, I'm taking Jarrell McNeil any day.
Oh, yeah. Jarrell McNeil.
McSteel. They called him McSteel.
Yeah, either Jarrell McNeil or Eric Gaines. He was on my team that won the state championship. He went to Kent State. One of those two guys.
Defensively. Oh, yeah. Lockdown.
Defensive lockdown guys. Even right now, this year, Bucky Irvin, just a defensive demon,
Dog.
Man, Bucky was part of me too, man. I gotta take some credit with Bucky, man. Bucky a bad boy.
I saw him put up 40 points in the 8th grade championship game when he played for Jesse White.
Uh-huh.
That was in Mount Pulaski, which is like in between Bloomington and Springfield. We were making jokes. We're like, who's this guy? He drove himself to the game. Like he was just a man. Now he's a 5-star running back? I mean, wow.
Coach Smith, who would you have? Who would be your lockdown player? If you had to pick somebody on somebody, who could you coach so much talent? Who would you have as your lockdown person?
We had a guy who played with Derek them named Dexter Williams. And people might not even know his name, but during our playoff run in 06, he guarded everybody's best player, and nobody got their average. He guarded John Shire. He guarded, is it Cody Yielder, who played at Richards? That's his name, Cody Yielder, played at Richards. He guarded somebody from East. I forgot what guard that was. But he guarded everybody's best player that year if they wasn't a center. I mean, he guarded everybody because, John Shire was 6'5". He was only 5'10". And he was almost like a Bucky because he played football. He was a stocky kid. So what we did was they set a lot of screens for John Shire. So we told him, just run through one of those screens. Don't stop. Just run through it. Yeah. And when you hit that person, the next time he going to move to the side and let you get through the screen.
Yeah.
So he hit him. And then every time he went through, he said, Coach, you're right. They just let me get through the screens now. I said, no, because they don't want to get hit. They don't want to get hit like that. But he was a lockdown defender. And it's crazy because he came off the bench during the regular season. And the kids was like, Coach, he needed to start. The person that was starting said that he needed to start. And he would come off the bench, because he knew that he was the person guarding all these people. And he don't want the people to get going. This is the kid. We don't want him to get started, so let him start off on him, and then I'll come off the bench, which was like, I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, just let him start. I'm like, we're going to win, y'all, because people all in. Kids don't give up their starting spots.
No.
It just don't happen. But they wanted to win, and the kid still played a lot of minutes who came off the bench, but he just knew, this kid was locked in and he was guarding the best players, or he just didn't want to have to guard them people. One of the two.
Man, I had Lamont Walker. Lamont Walker took everybody out the game. I put him on centers, put him on guards, point guard. He didn't care, but like you say, he wasn't even supposed to start, And they can't just like that's how you know you're gonna win when the player and the players or the main guy come to you and say, no, he got to start. And my big fella gave up his starting spot so we could win state. I said, wow.
But
Yeah.
when you get those teams, and Don, you probably know it when you're going through it, and Dante, you're gonna have your opportunity to get there. It ain't even us.
No.
It's not us. It's the kids.
After a certain point, it's not.
Yeah, it's be the kids. So most of the teams that win, they don't have no problems at all. None.
No.
They keep it all together. It's they have their parents together. They have their self together. They have all because it only takes for one person to mess up the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, and it could be a parent, it could be a cousin, it could be an uncle, it could be a player, it just take one player. And if all the people not in together with this on one common goal, then it's gonna be messed up. And they could be saying they want to win. Everybody gonna say they want to win. Nobody gonna say I hope we lose or nothing like that. Parents, cousin, but it's that ride home. You know, it's that ride home. You should
even get in the car sometime.
Yeah, in the hallway after the game. He don't know what he's doing and all type.
The worst part about winning and having won it is that this team just doesn't have it. As good as they are, they don't have it. You know, and it's crazy that it's like that, but you just know. As good as they are, they just don't have it. You know, because you've been there and you know what it takes to win. You know the mentality.
Right.
You know, and you know something's going to come in there and it's going to find that chink in the armor, and it just happens. You know.
Yeah. I tell them all the time, you can only fake it for so long.
Yeah.
Then it's gonna come out. You can only fake it for so long, and then eventually it's gonna come out. It's gonna come out at the wrong time too. It's gonna come out at the wrong time, and you're gonna lose. And then it's gonna be my fault because you lost.
Coach Dante, who's your guy? If you had to have a lockdown situation,
I had a guy named Devontae Slater who was real tough. He had that mentality where he would come get you the whole game. He would get you from when the ball was thrown in from one end, and he don't have no reason to even come down there and guard you. He guarded you because you're the inbounder, and so he bumping you on your way down, and I just love that about him. I love, he's just a gritty kid who wanted to play hard, and he wanted to play the best player, and that's what I would probably say.
So Nick, I got a question for you since you.
Yes, sir.
Marcus Levette, Charlie Moore, Ayo. Who taking the last shot? I want to put you on the spot. If you can't answer,
or Adam too. And I just said, let me just wait till we off air because I don't want him to have no enemies.
Oh man. You guys Levette. We off the L? We off the L?